All right, you guys. So it's our Tuesday night call. I know we usually have a few more people hopping on. Um, but tonight we have a very special guest. We have Jemima on. Jemima works for compliance at Beachbody. And I reached out to her about a month ago and I was like, hey, Jemima, I really want you to do a team call for us because I've seen that she's been doing some for some other coaches in the network. And I think it's just really important as business owners that we know what to say and what not to say to protect ourselves as well as the company. Ooh, do you guys hear that thunder? We're gonna get some bad storms, but protect the company as a whole, because while you do run your own business individually, what you do does affect the entire network. Okay, so Jemima and I go back, way back, probably from the beginning of my coaching career, and I've always loved just how respectful she is and real she is, and how she adds humor to a topic that her and I were just talking about. It's not always so fun to talk about. So Jemima, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks. Sorry, I had to take myself off of mute. I apologize. Thank you guys. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and thank you for inviting me to your call. So yeah, Meg and I have known each other for a number of years. I'm actually going on 10 years next month at Beachbody, so yikes, it's been a long road, but a really great one. So I wanted to go over a few quick points. We have what we do often at, for those of you who might have attended a leadership conference, either the leadership event in the fall or new leader conference, which we hold, I think, in February every year. You may have seen a variety of presentations, and some of it is coming from our side of the world, just in terms of some key policies. So I wanted to take a sort of brief pass at that with about 5 key points. And then if there's questions, if any of it, you're scratching your head and wondering what the heck I'm talking about, by all means, happy to answer any questions either now or later. Or if you think of it tomorrow when you're showering and you're like, I forgot to ask, know that you can always reach out to us. We're totally happy to take on any questions you might have or any concerns or anything we can be of help with. Our door is always open. But to Meg's point, you know, you guys are such great ambassadors of our brand and of everything Beachbody believes in. And so we want to make sure that we give you every opportunity to ask questions and be supported from our side as you're continuing to meet new clients and potential new coaches, and you're continuing to promote your business. So one of the things that you probably hear a lot of chatter about is income claims. And income claims are one of those things that totally dodges in this industry, in direct sales. Everybody, whatever they're promoting, selling, touting, oftentimes it's very attractive for somebody who's building a business to talk about how much money they're earning and how great the income potential is and how you can get rich and all those sort of funny stories we've probably heard over the years or seen on TV or something like that. But income claims for us are like the #1 regulatory issue. And from a regulator standpoint, an outside regulator like an attorneys general or the Federal Trade Commission, which is sort of the biggest governmental agency that monitors our channel of business, they definitely look for people making wild, unsubstantiated claims or things that just are not what they consider not typical. So Beachbody gives you a couple of great tools that you can use. And one of them is the income disclaimer, which is just a simple statement. It's in the P&P. You'll find it there. It's a couple of sentences that basically says, you know, these results aren't typical. We don't guarantee any certain level of income. And essentially just stipulate that what you may be describing from your own experience doesn't necessarily represent typical earnings by someone who is a coach in our business. So that income disclaimer, anytime you're talking about potential earnings, real earnings, getting some great reward because you made a certain amount of income, you took your family on a fantastic vacation to Europe, all thanks to Beachbody, any sort of statements like that, oh, I just bought a new house in cash, thanks Beachbody. Statements like that where you're talking about your income or the potential to earn income or gain wealth, you always, always, always have to use that disclaimer. So please do. You're better safe than sorry. Please include it. And if you're ever wondering if you can even say something, there are some times where even the disclaimer doesn't disclaim away what you're saying. So if you look at it, if you write out your statement and you look at it, you think of if you were the random consumer wandering by somebody's Facebook page and you saw that and you sort of chuckle to yourself like, really? I don't really believe that. If you find it unbelievable, I assure you a consumer does, and that's where we get into sort of a sticky wicket with some of these unsubstantiated claims. So when you're talking about your income, please always use the income disclaimer, and please stay away from words that are trouble spots. You know, I gained incredible wealth from Beachbody, or I became rich overnight from Beachbody, or it was simple to earn millions of dollars from Beachbody. It sounds foolish and it sounds laughable, but people say it all the time. So stay out of that zone if you can. And the other thing about income claims is you want to make sure that there is a reality to the story that you're conveying. So we ask that you don't post copies of your checks or copies of your income or commission reports from your online office. It's just become sort of a passé, sort of rather tacky thing to do, to be like, here's what I earned this week, look at my paycheck. But if you are talking about a particular achievement, hey, I hit Success Club 10 and I earned my biggest check yet, you know, again, that income disclaimer is always there. But if you're talking about something where it's a particular achievement that is more indirect, hey, I'm so grateful that I could take this great vacation, it's all because of the money I earned from Beachbody. And that, we don't know if you earned $20 from Beachbody or you earned $10,000 from Beachbody. Whether you're making a direct claim of income or an implied income claim, that disclaimer always has to be there. Also remember that there is, in addition to the income disclaimer, the statement of independent coach earnings. And that's also found in the coach office. And I'm sure Meg will post a copy in your team page or a link to that. But that statement is basically a summary of what typical earnings are for our different markets. So if you're a US coach, there's a US statement. Canadian, UK, eventually France, versions will all be there. That statement is super important to share with people, especially when you're talking to prospective coaches. It is not meant to diffuse their excitement, but it is meant to be a realistic view of what potentially someone makes and what the average earnings are over the course of a calendar year in a particular rank or a particular level of achievement. And you'll see, if you haven't had a chance to look at that statement, you'll see there's very large ranges. There are some people that are coaches just because they like the product discount. They may never actually intend to earn income. They're not looking at it from an earnings opportunity. And then there are some of you that come in like a house on fire and build a team very quickly and achieve some phenomenal success, and your earnings may be very outside the quote unquote normal range. But that income statement and that summary of earnings is super important to make available whenever you're talking about the business opportunity. If you're talking to somebody in a Zoom call, follow it up with a link to that statement. If you're having a live event, if your next super weekend, you're talking about the business opportunity, have a copy of it there. Have a printout of the statement of independent coach earnings. Have a few copies there, or you can email it to your attendees afterwards, but you always want to make that statement available. More and more, because of the regulatory issues in the direct sales space, there's regulators going to earnings meetings, to opportunities meetings. You could have somebody sitting in your super weekend who genuinely wanted to come learn about what it is to be a coach, but they happen to work for the Attorney General's office. And if they hear a claim made, they're going to make a claim, they're going to make a complaint, they're going to file with us, and then we're going to have to explain it. So a little bit of prevention really does take the sting away when there is ever a question or a concern about what was claimed to be typical or claimed to be possible, especially where it comes to income. So that's number one. The second one that follows that, which is similar, is product claims. So I drank Shakeology and now I don't have diabetes, or I drank Shakeology and now I don't have to take my antidepressant medication anymore. You can never make a claim that drinking something or taking a pill or following menu plan A in the P90X program cured your rheumatoid arthritis, your cancer, your depression, your anxiety. Nothing that you put in your body that Beachbody manufactured cures you treats your condition, nothing like that. You cannot correlate one to the other, either directly or indirectly. So directly, it seems really obvious. You can't say, I drank Shakeology and now I don't have to take high blood pressure medication. You're saying it cured my high blood pressure. That seems obvious. But you say other things like, hey, I'm struggling with my fibromyalgia, but I feel so much better and I'm so happy it's because I'm drinking Shakeology. You're not saying fibromyalgia was cured by Shakeology, but you are implying it with statements like that. So statements around product claims and health claims, you cannot claim that anything cures a condition, whether a disease, a chronic condition, an illness, an injury. You just simply can't say that. And when you do, if you do, we're going to reach out and ask you to take that statement down. That's not one where we can really come back and say, oh, if you can just add this disclaimer and say it didn't really cure it, but it helped, it's just not allowed. So product claims next to income claims are really the top 1 and 2 things that regulators look for, as well as consumer watchdog groups. And Meg's seen this, and I think some of you that have been with Beachbody for a while, there are well-known consumer protection agencies, whether it's the Better Business Bureau or consumer watchdog groups. There's a group called Truth in Advertising, which is a particular fan of the direct sales industry. And they are brutal in their review of content that is online from various distributors and different direct sales organizations. We want to stay out of their hair. We don't want to be their example. So if you ever have a story that you want to share and you're not sure how you can share it and still sort of not march outside the lines of comfort, we don't want to take away the story or your experience or dampen your enthusiasm at the results you've achieved or the changes that you've seen, but we do want you to be mindful of what those sort of legal awkward points are, especially where it comes to claims. So those are probably the top 2 right now. Couple more that are more commonplace questions that we get, and one ties into another, and that is how you're permitted as a coach to use your credit card on other people's accounts. So we have this thing that's under our credit card policy that we more commonly refer to as U+2. So as a coach, you can pay for your own product and orders. You can also pay for 2 other family members who are either your parent, your spouse, your child. When it comes to spouse, it doesn't have to be somebody you're married to. If it's your partner, if it's your boyfriend, your fiance, your girlfriend, whatever, like we're not looking for marriage certificates. We're not looking for that kind of level of detail, but we keep it to parent, spouse, or child as we define it. But that does mean it isn't somebody who's like my daughter or my mailman who's like my best friend and my brother. It really is limited to those few categories of family members. So you can use your card to pay for their orders, whether they're a customer or a coach, or if they're a coach, you can also pay for their business service fees. But what that doesn't allow you to do is manage their account or place orders in their account for you. So say I've signed up as a coach and I signed up my mom and dad. I can pay for their services, for their product orders, but I can't keep them active by placing my own orders in their business centers. They have to run their businesses, whether they're just enjoying product for the discount or whether they're actually building a team or enrolling customers. They're responsible for building and managing their own businesses. And I can't prop them up by paying for orders that are coming to me or be like, hey, I know Meg could use an extra bag of Shakeology. I'm going to buy it from Meg, and that's going to keep my mom active so that I can go Emerald, or I can stay Emerald, or I can promote to Diamond. That's where the sort of credit card usage issue is so important to us, because it can stop the manipulation of the compensation plan, what we refer to as bonus buying. And bonus buying is another one of those areas that it isn't just Beachbody's preference that it doesn't happen. It's actually a regulatory issue of propping up a business. Often what you hear referred to where people say like, oh, girl, you're selling Beachbody. You're probably in some pyramid scheme, where you hear people, sort of like raining on your parade. That reputation, whether it's Beachbody or any other company in the direct sales space, that whole pyramid issue is truly the whole propping. You're just spending money to hold yourself up there. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that same sort of recognition or compensation. So we're really strict about the credit card usage. We do a lot of research on a weekly basis. You all may get copied on emails. If your personally sponsored coach is using their credit card and we're not sure if it's a legitimate U+2 allowance, we'll reach out. We send out emails on a weekly basis. There's nothing to be concerned about or scared about. I would just encourage you, whether you're the recipient or your personally sponsored coaches are the recipient, just encourage them to reach back out to us and just respond back. There's no fine, there's no sanction, nobody's in trouble. I don't have a file with your name on it in my office. I don't have that many file drawers. I couldn't possibly make the space. But just know that your response to us, whether it's a response or a question or something that we can help you with, just respond back. It's helpful for us to hear back from you because that gives you and I the opportunity to chat, or you to chat with somebody on my team, just to answer our questions and also hopefully provide you some help or some training that you can also in turn share with your team. So if you can, don't look at compliance as the, oh crap, why are they calling or emailing me? Pick up the phone. We're human just like you. We love you guys. You are what makes our world go round on a daily basis, and we want to help and support you in any way we can. So try not to think of us as like the evil troll under the bridge. We're actually really nice people, and I have an amazing team I get to work with, so I'm super fortunate to have a great team of people that you will in turn have the opportunity to chat with as your Beachbody careers continue to flourish. So that's credit card usage and somewhat bonus buying. And that's a lot of information, especially for your newer coaches. That's an area that you want to make sure they understand well. So if there's ever any questions that you have, or if we can provide you any sort of extra training on that at any point, you're always welcome to reach out. Our door is open, email, phone, smoke signal, whatever works. We can always have more one-on-one calls if you have a particular question or concern, or you have a unique situation that you think deserves a little extra consideration. Please reach out to us and we'll do our best to work with you. And then the last thing I wanted to focus on, two quick things, but one sort of that I think is more important, and then one that's sort of more topical. We have something called the Coach Code of Ethics. We probably put it into our policies, I want to say, gosh, maybe 4 years ago or so. We've always had standards and expectations for our coaches, but we thought it was really important because there's an industry organization that Beachbody is a part of. It's called the Direct Selling Association, the DSA. You may often hear of it when we're at Summit or at Leadership or a particular event, but we're a member organization of that. And they're sort of the gold standard of industry organizations. So we get together with them, which allows us to get together with other direct sales companies and compare notes, look at best practices, look at different legislation that's affecting our industry. It's a great resource. But they have for their members a code of ethics. And it became very clear to us that we thought a code of ethics would be helpful for our field. Sort of stating the obvious, sometimes be nice to everybody, be respectful to one another, uphold the standards that you want upheld as a customer, be that sort of like golden rule people. If you didn't want that done to you, please don't do it to anybody else. Maybe a little bit more wordy than that, but that code of ethics is really saying a lot. And it's a great sort of, almost, in my opinion, a great tool that you can sort of use as a house rules. If you're sort of teaching newer coaches how they can best have a calm, peaceful start to their business and a great sort of helpful opportunity to learn some of the basic expectations of how we see our coaches and how we expect them to operate and conduct their behavior on a daily basis. It sounds sort of crazy. You think that people don't do some of the things that they do and say, but we're a big group of people. There's nearly 400,000 of you, and you guys are taking the time out of your day, away from your family, away from other priorities and stresses, to be a part of our community, which is so much appreciated and so valuable to the help that we're providing to people all over the world. We are so fortunate for that. But in turn, we want to make sure that if there's upset or conflict, that we can help you resolve that without it becoming like high school and a little like drama in the hallway and hair pulling, or she didn't smile at me in the hallway, or we all got together at Summit and took a team picture and she wore her red leggings and the email said everybody was going to wear blue and our picture looks bad now. And I'm telling you, I got 10 years of these stories. Someday I'm going to write a really good book, names excluded. But think of that coach code of ethics and think of it as just sort of a baseline of like, when you're at that point of total frustration or exhaustion, or I don't know what to do next to resolve this conflict, take a look at that, see what you can pull out of that that might be a helpful tool or a helpful point of reference to you. And if there's conflict that you guys can't resolve, a lot of the times you're going to have no hand in any of it. You didn't cause it, you weren't involved in it, but you're the more senior, experienced person and somebody's going to reach out to you and ask for your help. If you don't have an easy solution, if you don't feel comfortable getting involved in it, if you feel like it's not your place or you're just like, I got to tap out, this is not what I can spend my time on, have your coaches reach out to us. We deal with conflict resolution all the time. Oftentimes it's just a simple misunderstanding months ago or last week's team call or something that can easily be resolved, and everybody goes on and works together. But where you can encourage your folks to be respectful of one another and kind to one another, even if there's the momentary disagreements, it's going to create a whole lot more peace and understanding and encouragement. Think of the leadership that Meg gives you and just the like kind, encouraging, but firm and a good mama bird talking when you guys might need it. You can do the same for your coaches as your teams continue to grow, and you guys will be even stronger, even more amazing leaders than you are today. There's so much to take away from that and so much to make your own. So it's a really good resource. And then the last thing I wanted to just mention, and then I'm done droning on, and if you guys have questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions, just because it's top of mind right now. You know, you guys hear a lot today. We hear it every day. In fact, I think I heard one this morning, huge data breaches, privacy breaches, and we're all caught up in that, right? How many times have you had like a call from your credit card company or your bank, oh, we got to replace this because your number got stolen or your account got hacked or what have you? There's a lot of discussion around privacy, and Beachbody takes huge steps to protect privacy. The enormous amount of time and effort that we put into making sure systems are secure and your records are secure, and that those of us on the corporate side aren't exposing anything that shouldn't be exposed. We want to always take this opportunity to remind you, you all are downloading a lot of information as you're preparing your recognition reports and the content you download from your Coach Online office for your team, and maybe just information that you garner from your prospects and things like that. Treat that information and guard it like you would guard your own social security number. If you download a report and you use it to prepare your weekly Facebook or social media recognition, and that's got personal details in it, when you're done using it, delete it and get rid of it. When you're at the airport getting ready to take your vacation, don't put your laptop down and then go get your Starbucks. I mean, first of all, most of us would never do that because we don't want anybody to take our laptop. But if somebody does take your materials, whether it's a laptop, your phone, or your briefcase that has printed materials in it, you're exposing your information, your business information, and potentially a lot of other people's information. So treat the privacy of your business information like you would protect your own credit card number or your own social security number or your tax information. You want to really treat that with great value. And if you don't need it, don't download it. And if you do need it, download it, use it, and then dispose of it. Just lower the risk wherever you can, because you don't ever want to be the source of the information leak. Just like we don't want to have a breach, we don't want you guys to have a breach or be held responsible for something like that, because the fines that get involved and the reporting that gets involved, especially if it's something that you did personally, even totally unintended, there's a lot of cleanup and there's a lot of cost that comes along with that. And you're the business owner held responsible. So we want to make sure you can avoid that at all cost. That's my final talk today. So what can I do? Can I answer any questions? And if not now, later.
So good, Jemima, and you were so thorough, and just like the way that you explained it was so good, because I was reading through the comments and people were like, oh, I didn't even know that. So this is stuff that our baby coaches, our brand new coaches need to watch, just to know from the beginning, hey, when you talk about income, use the income disclaimer. the health. I believe we have one for the health too. But just
We
make sure
do.
you don't do outlandish stuff, guys. So I saw a quote, or I saw a question from Taryn that asked if you can do like yearly income progression.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that you can do to show your income progression. I don't mean to sound like you can't talk about money, because talking about your financial success is admittedly part of the highlight of much of what you want to share. You can absolutely show your progression. Two things to that. I would say when you're making your graphics, the simpler you can keep it and the more concise it is, the better, because you have to think about somebody that's looking at this and intrigued by it doesn't necessarily understand our compensation plan or what a certain figure represents. So keep it as sort of simple and straightforward as you can. Always include that income disclaimer. And if you ever have a desire to frame some different story around it or add some other layer of description to it, you can always email us and say like, hey, this is what I'd like to post, or hey, I'm holding a super weekend, this quarter, and I'd really love to talk about like the business opportunity, and I'd love to show my example of my progress and my achievement with Beachbody. We can help you with that. We can help you craft something that's totally safe, but still gives you your moment to shine. Not to say you can't talk about it. We just want to be careful how you present it so that you're out of harm's way. And if you email us, just know, like, our email box, obviously, just like all of yours, we're open on email 24/7, literally 365. You can always email us. Typically, if you email us a request for something to be reviewed, we will typically turn it around within about 1 to 2 business days. If you have something that comes up that's urgent and like the house is burning down, just pop us a note and be like, hey, I really need your help. And if there's any way I can get a response today, that'd be awesome. Let us know. We can turn things around quickly where needed, but generally our response time is about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, perfect. And you guys get back so quickly, like so quickly.
Yeah, we try.
Okay, so I saw Arlene said, so we can pay for 2 other family members' things, but we can use the products. So saying you can pay for like the Shakeology, but you can't, or you can pay for it underneath someone, but you use it. That's a no-no.
Right. So here's the best advice I can give you on that. I think that's a great question, actually. So a lot of people will say, hey, I enrolled my dad or my husband because, I'm really trying to build my business and I'm trying to get to Emerald as sort of my first goal, and I need that other active person. I'm going to order it. I'm allowed to pay for it. We live in the same house, so I'm going to buy it for him, but I'm going to use it for my business. It's a very gray area, and we want to keep you out of the gray as much as possible. I would say this. If somebody really isn't going to use it, if you're buying it for them so they can be that active coach in your right side so you can go Emerald, but you're actually turning around and selling it to somebody else, no. And a lot of times people start somebody as a coach because they truly have a very generous desire to gift something to somebody. Oh, you know what? Mega's, always come through and help me when I'm out of town and keeping an eye on my house, and I'd really love to do something for her. And maybe she'd love to be a coach, and then she could be that awesome coach that loves Shakeology, and that's all I need on my right side. So I'm going to just do that, and I'm going to gift it to her. Remember that when you gift something, and especially when you gift something that's on continuity, you're not just paying for the first time, you're then attached to the payment for the rest of the continuity until that person changes it. And if you buy your friend something on continuity, I don't know about your friends, but my friends will just keep on enjoying before they remind me that my credit card is buying them their monthly present. So remember that if you want to gift somebody something, even if they're not within that U+2 category, so let's say it's your sibling or your best friend or whatever, you can buy something for someone else if you'd like to gift them something. You just buy it through your own account. So if I want to gift Meg a present, she's my best friend that lives down the street and she's always helping with my kids, I can buy it through my coach account. I'm not buying it on somebody else's account to keep them active, or my downline 15 levels deep who needs somebody to go active. I'm buying it on my account. but I can have our warehouse drop ship it right to Meg. So I don't have to get something at my house and walk it down the street or drive it across town. So there's a lot of good ways that are totally legit to gift something to somebody. But to your point, Arlene, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure this is right. If you're buying something for another permitted family member, but only really for you to use the product, then no, the answer is that doesn't work under our plan.
Perfect. Okay, so I saw one other question. Laura Lee said, I would like clarity on the family accounts. I understand the buying of products, but I want to know more about the business aspect and building that. So like if you had a spouse signed up or a parent signed up and you were building their business, isn't there a form that they can fill out to like allow you to build their business?
Best question ever. Laura Lee, you got the gold star of the night. I don't know, I'm going to send you something, a gold star maybe. So this is a great question, and it's very on topic, both for new coaches and for our most senior leaders. So here's the confusion that comes up. We have this thing called a consent form. So you're a coach, your spouse is a coach, you guys have your own accounts, each of you, you're busy, and your husband calls you and says, oh my gosh, honey, I know I still got that recovery coming, but I need to change it to the 15th of the month instead of the 10th. We have what's called a consent form that allows spouses or family members, immediate family members, to say, hey, I'm giving my husband permission to call and change the date of my Shakeology, to change the flavor, to change the credit card, to cancel the HD order, basic administrative things. What that doesn't permit, and this is where I think the source of confusion is me to say, hey, honey, I'm trying to go Emerald. You sign up as a coach and I'll manage and build your account. If someone's building their account, if somebody is enrolling coaches in their account, those should be people that they themselves have made contact with and are enrolling. And I'll give you, it sounds very innocent, but I'll give you the converse down the road, oh crap moments that we deal with. So I call up and I'm like, hey, I got signed up. I know this girl, Nancy, she and I went to high school together. And so she's been like begging me to buy Shakeology, and she said I should be a coach, and like, okay, I need a few extra bucks, so I'm going to do it. And I signed up, and but it says that Bob Jones is my sponsor. Do you know who Bob Jones is? And so Nancy has now signed me up under her person that needs another coach, whether she's trying to build her husband's business center, build a downline coach's business center. Suddenly I'm left as somebody who wants to help a friend out, sort of has some basic interest in the business, but don't really know what I got myself into or what the potential is. And now I'm connected to somebody who I have no connection with, and likely has no intent of building the business themselves and is just relying on their spouse to basically run their business center. Beachbody is in a unique position. Most direct sales organizations don't give a husband and wife or spouses or partners the opportunity to maintain separate businesses in the same organization. Most will say, hey, Meg and Kirk, you guys want to work together? That's great. You can have one account with Amway. You can't be Meg and Kirk. You could be Merck. Sorry, is my camera right? I'm going to call you Merck from now on, Meg. Sorry. You can blame me later. So Beachbody says, hey, we want spouses to be able to work together. And very early on, we said, we want you guys to be able to individually build together. Some of you may have super different styles of building. Some of you may have like the typical, like, hey, the wife's got her community of friends, the husband has his community of friends. Let's all work together and let's have that benefit. So you and your spouse can have separate business centers, but the consent form doesn't give you the opportunity to have them just sit there in name only and you build their business. Now, you guys know people in common, obviously, through your friends, family, church relationships, school, what have you. If you guys have friends and you're at somebody's house for a barbecue and they're like, hey, I'd really love to do this coach thing. And Meg looks at Kirk and goes, you guys should really work together because, like, you guys are always at the soccer game together and blah, blah, blah. And wouldn't, John really like to work with you, Kirk, and not necessarily me? And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. Then obviously that's no problem. But randomly assigning people that you prospected that you have a relationship with, whether you know them personally, whether you've met them on social media and build a friendship with them, they need to be your coach. You don't get to operate somebody else's business. You can change things administratively through the consent form, like the Shakeology flavors and things like that, the ship dates and things like that, but you can't build somebody else's business. There is no spouse account. There is no, oh, that's just my, I keep hearing this now. People say, oh, it's my control account. I'm allowed to have a control account. No, you have your business. And when you as a coach achieve 2-star diamond as a paid rank, then you have the opportunity to open up a second CBC and continue to further expand your business there. But if you're working together with a spouse, which is awesome, and we have so many great couples that work this business together, you can absolutely work together, but work smart and make sure that, especially where it comes to enrollments, if you brought somebody in, they're your coach. They don't just default to your husband or wife's account who basically is just there to hold a name and a spot for you. Hopefully that helps.
No, that was perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Last question, Megan Turner said, where can we find that consent form? FAQ consent form.
There is the consent form. I believe it's in the self-service page, but I will look and send you the actual deep link. Otherwise, you can click and click and click and click. So let me grab that for you, Meg, and I'll send it to you.
Send it to me.
Yeah, and then you can share it with the team. But yes, the consent form is available online. There is some discussion as to whether or not we still have that form in the future, but that's still not decided. So for the time being, it is available to you for your spouse. Generally, that's how people use it, and that's where we don't really have a concern when it's a spouse. If you're giving it to, let's say you have an assistant who's in your downline, we're not giving it to your downline coach to manage your account or make changes. Your account really is a valued business. Think about, you wouldn't just randomly give me access to your bank account. Mm-hmm. Then don't give me access to your business account. This is a business. Like it or not, this is a business opportunity, or at least has the potential to be. And because people have the potential to earn and in turn owe taxes on their earnings, we need to make sure that the people who are named on the account and whose information we have are truly the ones operating the account. It's really to keep you guys safe and protected and not surprised down the road.
That's perfect. Awesome. Well, Jemima, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to give us tips and help us make sure that we're running our business the right way. So guys, thanks so much for hopping on. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will get these resources to you guys in the team group. All right?
Thanks so much, you guys. Have a